Manuela Leuenberger, Product Support Coordinator here at DDLS, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Our presenter today is Wayne McLean. Wayne currently holds the position of Senior Technical Instructor here at DDLS and is responsible for the delivery of a variety of Microsoft courses while specializing in Windows Server Client and System Center, particularly System Center Configuration Manager. He's also part of the team that enabled DDLS to win the 2016 Microsoft Learning Partner Award. So without further ado, I will hand the presentation over to you, Wayne.
Okay, thank you. It makes me sound like I should be walking on water rather than anything else, doesn't it? All right, so let's just get started on this one. Certification 101, find the path. And the whole idea of this particular presentation is to help you decide, firstly, whether or not you want to go down the certification path, and if you do, then what particular path you want to take, what the different options are for you to achieve your Microsoft certification as such. So first part of this is actually looking at the paths. And one thing that you may or may not realize is just how long Microsoft certification has been around for. In fact, we look back into 1992, and that's when they first announced that they would have a Microsoft Certified Professional. I've got a couple of friends of mine, they gave me a copy of their cards. You see Jeff Headley's there, number 2363, and his early certifications you can actually see on there. And what it actually shows is that initially certifications were actually put onto the back of your card using a yellow sticker. Ryan's another friend of mine, Roger Calafato from over in the States, 5512. My own certification number is 316484. So you can see that we're up into, by the time I got my certification in 1996, we were starting to move up into the hundreds of thousands. Now we're in the millions. So why do you want to actually get certified? And one of the things that you've got to look at is what you're going to get from it. So you go on a course, you learn a particular product, you decide that you want to get certified. What that's going to do for you, it's going to validate that training that you actually sat on. It's going to show that you have picked up some new knowledge. It's going to increase your confidence because you now have been through a course, you've been through an exam that shows that you know the broad range of that particular product that you've actually sat for certification on. Sitting a course means that you learn the product from one end to the other end. You might not spend a lot of time on each part of that product, but at the end of that particular course and when you sit for your certification, they're going to look at examining you and testing your knowledge on all of that application, not just one particular part that you may be working within your organization with. It's also going to help you with learning about certification for your customers. Career-wise, Microsoft certification is recognized industry-wide. If you're sitting down at review time, you're sitting down talking to your boss, you want to get a rise, then you need to have something that's going to set you apart from your peers. And that's what the certification will do. It's recognition in the industry. It's setting you aside from your peers. It's a method and a way to demonstrate the mastery of a particular product. And it also demonstrates that you've got the drive and the commitment to actually sit an exam and to sit a certification exam. So gains for you, gains for your career. When we look at the actual certifications, one exam, and you're a Microsoft Certified Professional. Once you've passed that one exam and you get your MCP, you're then on the road to becoming an MCSA, an MCSE, or an MCSD, depending on what actual way you want to go, and that's the whole idea of being at this particular webcast. So when we look at the first part of it there, Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate, MCSA, used to be called System Admin. It's now called a Solutions Associate, because what we want is somebody that knows how to work with the actual products themselves. We're not talking about just working with Server, just working with Exchange, just working with SQL. We're talking about a solution where you can say that, yes, if we want to allow email and we want to allow chat and we want to allow voice communication, then the solution is that we're going to set up Server 2016, that we're going to set up Link, that we're going to set up Exchange. That's the solution side of it. As far as who the audience is, you're looking at somebody with 1 to 2 years experience, somebody coming off a help desk or somebody coming into a help desk role that wants to move from a level 1 type position up to a level 2 or level 3 position. To actually become an MCSA, depending on which particular path you want, there may be 1, 2, or 3 exams that you need to actually pass. You do need to have your MCSA before you can actually become an MCSE. Moving on from the MCSA, the Solutions Associate, we work on the Solutions Expert. Solutions Expert is not just how to do something within a particular product, but also when to do something and why you're doing something. You've got a problem with Active Directory. People can't find the domain controller. Well, you know then that you need to be looking at DNS. You know you need to go into DNS and you need to look at the SRV records to see why people can't contact the LDAP server or can't contact the Kerberos server. So that means you've got a little bit more experience. So we're talking about 3 to 5 years worth of experience. You need to also already have your MCSA. So you need to be a Solutions Associate before you become a Solutions Expert. Again, the old MCSE used to be called a Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. We're no longer system engineers, we're Solutions Experts. You provide the solution, you know how to do it because you're an MCSA, you know why you've done a particular project or why you've done a particular setting, and you also know when and where to look for assistance if you need to. So that's the MCSE, the next step up from the MCSA. Now, developers, and there are developers out there, I'm not one of them. I can spell SQL, but that's about it. I can't write a web app to save my life. But for those people that are working with applications that are writing code, that are working with, say, the Universal Windows platform, and then you're looking at becoming an MCSD. MCSD, Microsoft Certified Solutions Developer, are for the developers out there, the people that are actually going to write the code. So it means you can actually build solutions across the multiple technologies, whether it's on premises, in your own data center, or whether you're talking about off premises, whether you're in Amazon Web Services or you're using Microsoft Azure, you've got the ability to go through and create a solution by writing that particular solution. One of the good things about the MCSD, there is no recertification requirement, whereas some of the others, there is a need for a recertification every year, and we'll go into detail about that as we get our way through. So MCP, first, one exam, you're an MCP. MCSA, you're a Solutions Associate. MCSE, you're a Solutions Expert. There's a 3, or MCSD, I should say, is also for the developers as such. The people are actually developing the solutions that we've got. So they're the 3 main areas. And just a quick poll here to see who we've actually got watching the webcast today. How long have you actually held a Microsoft certification? So less than 5 years, between 5 and 10 years, between 11 and 20 years, or, like some of us here that are listening, I know Chris and I have certainly been certified for more than 20 years. For the newcomers, I want to know if you're not certified. It's not going to come up with your names or anything like that. I'm just going to get the numbers so I know and have a better idea. So I could sing a song for a little while, but I don't think I will. Just give you a few minutes to go through and put your answer down there. All right, that was nice and quick. Let's well, I didn't have to sing a song. It's not worth listening to. And somebody's just told me recently I've got a good face for radio. So what have we got? We've got less than 5 years. There's a couple of people there. But it looks like the vast majority, not the vast majority, it's just over half, I should say, are not certified yet, which is good. And there's a couple of people there with more than 20 years and between 11 and 20. So for the majority of you there, it looks like you're here because you want to see where to start. And that's what we'll go on to now. First steps. First off, if you want to go through and have a look at earning your MCSE or your MCSD, you've got to go through and get your Certified Solutions Associate first. So you've got to get the MCSA first. Once you've got your MCSA, then a single additional exam, one more exam to get the MCSE or the MCSD. The really good thing about this, once it's added to your transcript, it will not expire. Let's go on to the next slide, and you'll see what I'm actually talking about. So I click on the right button here. Wow, that's a busy one. This is updated as of 2 weeks ago, and you can see there's a bright pink line there in the data management analytics, and there's also a new one right down the bottom there, which is the MCSE in business applications. You've got 5 MCSEs, 1 MCSD, 6 premium Microsoft certifications that you can actually go for. And what I'll do now is I'll go into each of these and I'll explain the path that you're actually looking at. So for those people that weren't or don't have any certifications, this is where you've got to look at this and say, right, what area or what part of the IT job that I've got at the moment excites me the most? What do I really like doing? Do I like working with SQL Server? Do I like working with Exchange? Do I like working with server and client? Because what you are going to do from what you like is you'll carry that enthusiasm through when you actually pick your path and when you choose what particular certifications you want. So let's have a look at the first one there, which is mobility. You can look at this and say, okay, that's the simplest one. Simply in one sense, in that you only need to have 3 exams, and you're an MCSE in mobility. However, having said that, the 3 exams that you need to pass are all going to do with managing the client side. Now, we're managing the client side now. We're not just talking about Windows 10 client. We're also talking about managing Android devices, managing Apple devices. I know we've got to put up with those, as well as managing Windows Phone and Windows Mobile devices. So first off, what you've got to look at there is the fact that you need to pass the first exam, which is 698. The exams and the courses line up really well. The exam is 70-698, which is installing and configuring Windows 10. The course, which is a 5-day course, is actually 20698. So the 20 courses line up with the 70 exams. You do 20698, you can then sit the exam for 70698. That gives you one exam, gives you your MCP in installing and configuring Windows 10, but more importantly, puts you on the path to getting your MCSE in mobility. So 698 first off, then 697, 70697 is the exam, corresponding course 20697, which is configuring Windows devices. Now, that's the interesting part, because we're not simply talking about client. We're talking about anything that's running Windows 10, whether it's a Windows 10 phone that some of us still have, or it's a Windows 10 Surface like I'm working with here, or it's a tablet. Either way, you're working with Windows devices and you're configuring those Windows devices. 2 exams, you're an MCSA on Windows 10. Now comes the hard part. This is where you've got to make the decision. Which way do you actually want to go? 398 is planning and managing devices in the enterprise. Again, 20398 is the course, 70398 is the actual exam you need to sit. That's managing devices. That's going to have a little bit about Intune. It's going to have a little bit about Android devices, about Apple devices. So it's a good pick for those people that are working in an organization where people are bringing their own device in and they need those devices to be managed within your organization. 695, again, is another 5-day course on how to deploy Windows desktops and enterprise applications. That actually goes through a fair bit of detail about setting up your deployment side. And the last one there, which is my favorite course, is System Center Configuration Manager. Config Manager is a huge product, but it's a 5-day course that will allow you to not only know how to manage your devices, but also how to update your operating systems, how to inventory your operating systems, and how to manage overall the devices and the objects you've got within your environment. So the first one there is MCSE Mobility. When you earn it, it'll actually come up with and say the year that you earned it. So you earned this in 2017. You want to recertify it. It's going to be the same for each of these different areas that we're going to look at. Then the next year you come back and you can recertify with another exam. Then it will come back and say earned in 2018. The good thing is you're not going to lose that particular certification. Instead, your transcript will now go, I earned this in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Well, that's 3, and there's only 3 electives. That's fine. Microsoft have got plans to keep adding more and more electives in as we go through. So moving on from mobility, looking at the cloud platform, this is one of the most common ones. This lines up the closest to the old MCSE that we used to have because it's got to do with server. So Server 2012, 3 exams you need to get your MCSA. Server 2016, 3 exams to get your MCSA on 2016. And for any Linux people out there, you can actually sit an exam, the Linux Foundation Certified System Administrator, and the Managing Azure Infrastructure Solutions, and you become an MCSA Linux on Azure, which is pretty cool. There's another new one we've got down here, the MCSA Cloud Platform, for those people working with Azure. Then you can go through and choose from those particular electives that we've got that also form part of the elective pool that we've got across to the side here. So choose which direction you want to go to get your MCSA, choose your elective, and you're an MCSE in Cloud Platform and Infrastructure for 2017. Come back next year, sit another exam, and you get it earned for 2018. A bit of a pattern here. It's not too hard to pick up, is it? Productivity path. Again, we've got the option here of working with Server. So Server 2012 or Server 2016. But this is where the Office 365 comes in. Along with the Office 365, if you're working with Link, if you're working with Exchange, and that's the particular product that you love, then you can go through here and choose your Exchange server. Or you can go through and choose SharePoint or Skype or Link, and that will then give you your MCSE in productivity. Next path that we want to look at, data management and analytics. Wow, huge. This is out of my area of expertise. This is the sort of thing Chris used to do. So we're looking at SQL Server 2012, 2014. We're looking at querying data and developing databases, administering, implementing data warehouses, analyzing big data, and then a couple of new paths that we've got in here, upcoming paths, new courses, new exams that are going to be developed that will end up giving you an MCSA in business intelligence reporting or big data engineering or cloud database development. So for the upcoming paths, 2 exams to get MCSA, 1 more elective, and you're an MCSE in data management and analytics. Moving on to the next one, we're looking at the app builder. So this is the solution developer. If you're one of these people that are writing applications, if you're writing the web applications and the mobile applications that you're using within your organization, this is the path that you'd be going down. Programming in HTML5, developing ASP.NET gives you an MCSA in web applications. Programming in C# and developing mobile apps gives you an MCSA in the Universal Windows platform. And this will then lead towards the MCSD, App Builder. You might have heard, you may not have heard, yesterday Microsoft released a new product, and that's the Surface Book. It's a new device that's running a new version of Windows 10 called Windows 10S. And that's a locked down operating system similar to what they've got with a Chromebook that's going to be big in the education side. The thing about the Windows 10S is it will only use apps from the Windows Store. So you'll see the developing mobile apps, the Windows Universal Platform apps becoming more and more popular. They're the paths that you've got. The new path that we've got is for those people that are working with Microsoft Dynamics, CRM type thing. So the business application side of things, the Dynamics 365 customer engagement, online deployment, customization and configuration will give you an MCSA in Dynamics 365. 1 more elective from the pool that we've got down here, and you're an MCSE in business applications. This is a part of Microsoft certification that hasn't been around for a while. It's to acknowledge those people that are working with Dynamics AX and with Dynamics 365 for those people that are also within that sphere looking and working with SQL database. So working towards MCSE business applications, another new path that we've got available to us now. Good thing about this is each year you can re-earn the certificate. Now, rather than what you're doing at the moment, which if you're an MCSE, you have to take a specific recertification exam every 2 or 3 years, what Microsoft is giving you the option of is saying, right, yes, you're a mobility, MCSE and mobility in 2017, but they're coming out with different courses and different versions and different types of applications. So by sitting another elective, you can recertify each year and build up a history of your certifications over a period of time. The good thing is that you're not going to lose anything off your transcript. Those exams that you've already sat, those exams that you've passed to get your MCSE will always stay on your transcript. And in fact, if I look at my transcript, it still shows Windows NT 351 workstation. I think that's a little bit out of date. I don't think anybody will be running that anymore. But it's still on my transcript. And the beauty about that is it shows the history of what you've been working with within the Microsoft Solution Suite. So keeping current, earn the certification, you get a new certification added to your particular transcript as such. The good thing is, and another good thing I suppose you could say, is that it really only applies to the MCSE and the MCSD certifications. You still need to go through and earn and upgrade the MCSA certifications as you do currently. So MCSA on Server 2012 is still a valid and current certification. You want to become an MCSA on 2016, then you need to sit the upgrade exam for that particular MCSA. So for that, for example, there's one exam which is 70743, and that 743 exam is to upgrade you from your MCSA Server 2012 to MCSA Server 2016. And then by sitting an elective, you're then an MCSE in that particular area for that particular year. Right, they're the paths. That's what you've got to go back and look at. That's where you've got to make the decision as to which particular path you want. You've got to work out what you like working with. You've got to go with that particular solution that you enjoy working with. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to sit down and study. Because to pass the exams is not just simply a matter of sitting the course and memorizing the actual courseware itself. The exams are deliberately designed to test your knowledge. Different question types will appear in the different exams that you're doing. If anybody was interested in the MOS, the Microsoft Office Specialist, that's a performance-based test, and it runs in Office directly. The MTA, the Microsoft Technology Associate, that's more a college level or a school, high school type level certification that you can achieve while you're still in school or while you're going through further education. What we're particularly looking at is once we move up into the MCSA and the MCSE areas. MCSA, you've got multiple choice questions, drag and drop. You've got hot area. When you go up into Solutions Expert, they expect a little bit more out of you. So there's going to be multiple choice. There's going to be drag and drop. There's going to be case studies. There's going to be fill in the blanks. And we'll just go through and have a look at a few examples of those. Things to remember. Questions will always have a consistent anatomy. That is, they will start off with a business problem. You are the system administrator at Contoso. Your users have a problem logging on to their machines first thing in the morning. The goal statement will then say you need to fix the problem. Then they will present you with the answers, and you've then got to sit there and try and work out what the actual answers are. There will be, as part of those answers, there are going to be multiple distractors. If there's one correct answer, there's going to be 3, 4, 5 distractors in there that are almost correct. So you've got to be able to look at those questions and say, right, answer 5, answer 4, they're totally wrong. It's got nothing to do with the subject that we're talking about, and wipe them out off the possible list of answers that you've got. And then look at the other 3 that you've got left and work out which one of those is going to be the best answer. Or, if it's a 2-part answer, which one of the 3 is the first part, which one of the 3 is then the second part and the second answer to that particular question that you've got. We're not going to try and trick you. We're going to distract you, but what we want to do is to make sure that you understand how the product works, that you know when to put a particular solution in place, and you know why you're putting that particular solution in place. So we're not trying to trick you. It's not an English exam, but you do need to know the product, and you need to know what's behind that particular product and how it works. Not just multiple choices. I'll go through and show you some examples of these in a moment. You've got hot area, extended matching items, code review. For those people who are going for the MCSD, then you need to be able to look at a block of code and be able to work out whether or not that particular code that they've written there is correct. If it's not correct, what needs to be corrected in there? Case studies, choose X that apply. There's no longer a choose all that apply. You've got to look at the question, and if it says choose 3 correct answers, that's what you've actually got to go through and choose. Or choose 2 answers that together make up the actual solution. Short answer code, you've got to put code in there. Active screen, move around the screen and click on the area that's going to actually fix the problem that they've put into that particular question. Drag and drop. I'll show you this in a moment. Basically dragging from one side and putting into the answers on the other side. Build lists, best answers. Let's go through and have a look at a couple of little samples of those. Multiple choice items. So you can see in this first one here, that is what they call a radio button. And what the radio buttons will say to you is choose the best answer, as opposed to choose 2 answers that together will make up the solution. So in this case, clicking on one, that's your answer. If you click on another, it'll unhighlight the first and then highlight the second. Whereas clicking on these, you can click all of them, and then you can unclick them if you need to. Next are extended matching items. First time I saw this, it confused me because it looked like exactly the same answers were in more than one of the questions, and that is exactly how it is. That's not a bad thing. You can actually work out the answer to a previous question by looking at this new question and going, oh, hang on a second, I got that last one wrong. I need to go back and change that particular answer, which is what you can do in the majority of tests that you've got. But you can see here that we've got a number of questions in here, or correction, a number of answers in here, and out of these 8 answers, that is the correct answer for this question. This is the correct answer for this question. So you need to look at the question, you need to look at the answers, and then choose which question and which answer are going to match up there. Extended matching items. It seems like we're trying to trick you, doesn't it? But we're not. It's making sure that you know what you're actually doing. When we go into case studies are a little bit more difficult. When you look at this particular screen, it looks more difficult. The idea behind a case study, and you'll see these in the MCSE exams, is that you are given a problem and you've got to come up with the solution. You've got to know the how, the when, the why to be able to choose that. So you'll be presented with a number of pages, and what you need to do is to read through quickly the case study, where the company is now, where the company wants to get to, and how they're suggesting is the best way to get to it. Now, from that case study, there'll be a number of questions. There might be 5, there might be 10 questions within a case study, but all those questions will relate back to that particular case study and that company's particular problem that you need to solve. So as you go through and answer the questions, you're referring back to the case study, and the case study will say, we have a particular problem with organisations and our campuses that are spread out across a wide area. We're going to fix that by this particular implementation of a WAN technology. It might be branch cache or something similar. So you need to understand what branch cache is. You need to understand how it works. And you need to find the answer out of the case study that's going to answer that particular question for you. Downside to a case study is once you've finished the case study and you move on to the next set of questions, you cannot go back to the case study. You can go back to previous questions. What you can't do is go back into that case study. For those people that are thinking about doing upgrade exams, same sort of concept. An upgrade exam will consist of 3 different examlets within the one exam. You finish one exam, you can't go back to it. Finish the second exam, again, you can't go back to it. You're just left with the 3rd exam. Now, moving forward from the case study example, drag and drop. This, to me, is one of the most confusing ways to answer a question. It may be that you need to back up a SQL database, in which case it'll have step by step on the left-hand side. And you've got to drag and drop into the correct order of operation to carry out that particular task. Now, the good thing is you can drag things around, you can move them back, you can reorder them if you need to. But you need to put it into the correct order. And then there might be 4, there might be 5 steps that you need to carry out a particular task. And you've got to put them in the right order. Next one from that, hot area. Hot area is not too bad. If we're going through and saying, right, we've got a particular spreadsheet and we want to sum up a particular column, which particular element within this screen would you click on? And it's, well, for example, sum of is this weird looking backward E, which somebody told me is a sigma symbol. So you need to click on that area of the screen. That's your answer. If we needed to change the font color, you click over here. If you needed to sort and filter, you'd be clicking in this particular area here. So hot area, you go to the area of the screen that you would actually make the change to. Short answer code. All right. For those people that are looking at doing Server 2016, you need to know PowerShell, because you all love PowerShell, don't you? I can spell PowerShell sometimes. The questions that I've seen in practice exams, and I can't talk about real exams because we all sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means I can't talk about them. But in the practice exams, you will see that they will expect, Microsoft will expect you to understand a PowerShell commandlet and the structure to run that particular commandlet, to install a Windows feature, to set up a DNS zone, to configure the permissions on unsigned code, for example. And what they will do in this type of question is you will have a series of drop-down boxes across the screen that will have PowerShell commandlets, that will have options, that will have operators that you need to drop down each of those boxes, and from the options that you've got, build a PowerShell command line that will actually carry out the task that they're asking you to achieve in the question itself. That's fun. So if you're like me and you're not that good at PowerShell, guess what? You're going to have to become that good at PowerShell. If I'm scaring you off from doing exams, that's not too bad a thing, because what I don't want is anybody to feel complacent. You might have been working with Exchange since Exchange 5.0, but you are typically working within a subset of that particular application. The exam is going to cover the application or the solution as a whole. That's the hard part, because there's parts of applications that you have never used before. If I was testing you on Config Manager, for example, then I might want to talk to you about compliance. And you're going to say, compliance? I've never used compliance before in my life. Trust me, that sort of thing could be in the exam. So the exams are there to test your full knowledge of the particular solution, not just what you're working with at the moment. So short answer code, interesting, especially when we're talking about PowerShell. Now, if I haven't scared you off yet, you've got a pretty good idea about what sort of path you want to go down. You've got a pretty good idea that, yeah, I really like working with Windows 10, and I think the mobility MCSE is the way that I want to go. You've gone and sat the courses with us, of course. You've done your study. Now you're going to actually be sitting in the exam. And when I look at that little poll that we had there before, there was 24 of you that haven't got any Microsoft certifications, that have not sat a Microsoft exam before. So what sort of exam tips can we give you here? The number of questions that you'll get varies, and there's a reason for that, and that is because depending on what the exam is and how hard the exam is as to how many questions you'll get. So typically it's around 50, but it could be between 40 questions to 60 questions. Again, depending on the exam itself as to how long it's going to take. And trust me, a 4-hour exam is no fun at all. So you need to prepare yourself for that particular exam length. Most of the time you can review questions, but as I've highlighted here, you cannot move between case studies. It's a mark out of 1,000, which means you need to get 70%. That sounds a bit strange, because I've said there that 700 does not necessarily mean 70%. That's because the questions themselves can be weighted. Now, what I mean by that is if you get an exam, a set of questions out of the pool, and we're talking about, say you get 55 questions that could be coming from an exam pool of 400 questions. If during the build of that particular exam that you're going to sit, you get a particularly hard one, then each question will be weighted as such that you have to answer fewer questions to get your 700 than what you would if it was an easy set of questions out of the exam pool. It sounds a little bit wobbly, doesn't it? But it's how it works. And when you do the exam, if you get 700 and it comes up and says you passed and you got 700, brilliant, you passed. If you get 800, 900, 1,000 out of 1,000, it's still a pass. You don't get a lower pass simply because you got 700 compared to somebody who got 1,000. There's no difference. A pass is a pass, is a pass. But some of those questions are going to be harder. And just to trick you, I said we're not trying to trick you, just to make you a little bit more aware, Microsoft can and will slip beta questions into the exams. The beta questions could be one that you're actually sweating over, does not necessarily count towards your mark in the end. Making it difficult? Yes, but when you pass an exam, you know that you deserve that pass. This isn't something you can memorize and sit down and simply, from memory, parrot the answers back. You need to understand what you're actually working with. So once you reach the cut score, I know I said each question is worth 1 point, but you've got different weighting. There's no partial credit. If I've asked you for 3 correct answers and you've given me 2 correct answers and 1 incorrect answer, it's wrong. That's it. But if you get the whole question wrong, I'm not going to deduct points from you. So that's a bit of a relief in that sense. When you arrive, so if you're going to sit the exam, now there's a little bit of a caveat here. You no longer have to turn up at an exam center. Microsoft now do proctored exams. Proctored exams means that you'll sit in front of a webcam, like I'm sitting in front of you here at the moment, and there's going to be a proctor watching you. You need to actually pick your webcam up and show it around the room to show that, nope, there's no books open behind the screen or anything like that. And at any time, he can ask you to do that during the exam to show that there's nobody feeding me questions or anything. And somebody is watching you while you do that particular exam. So you can do an exam in the comfort of your own home, or you can come into one of the DDLS branches and do the exam in our exam centres. You need to have a photo ID, you need to have a second ID with a signature. It's closed book, you can't have your manuals there with you. Your electronics, everybody's got their phone. Well, guess what? Your phone's going to be locked up. If you've got a smart watch or anything like that, they'll ask you to take that off as well, and they'll put that in secure storage for you. Success. Look, the biggest thing about success as far as exams go is you know the product that you're going to be tested on. That's what it's going to come down to. It's not just what's in the book. It's going out and doing extra research, setting up a little test lab, practice exams and that type of thing that is available to you. Understanding what the product does and how it works is what's going to help you the most. If you've got memorization items or diagrams that you've memorized, think the networking exam, for example. If you need, because a lot of people do, have trouble with subnet masking, variable length subnet masking, then you may memorize what the magic numbers are, and as soon as you get into the exam room, you can write down your 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 and put your powers of 2 above that. Draw up your little diagrams on the sheet that you get in the exam room before you start the exam. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You've got scratch paper there, use it. Write down what's in your head as soon as you get in there, because when you're halfway through the exam, everything's gone out of your head and you can't remember a thing. Get there early, and especially if you've got a 4-hour exam, you do want to get there early because you are going to have a drink of water, and once you've had a drink of water, you may need to use the facilities first. Make sure you do that. Nothing worse than trying to sit through an exam while you're waiting to get out. And try and get a good night's sleep, even though that's a little bit difficult. Just some of the things, some of the tips, some of the hints that after over 20 years of doing exams, I've come up with there. During the exam itself, don't panic. You're not going to know every question. Most of the time, I'm not going to be standing behind you with a big stick in my hand. I'm not going to beat you over the head if you get something wrong. So you won't know every question. I don't expect you to know every answer. And the absolute worst thing that will happen is you don't pass this time. Not failing. I shouldn't actually have that in there. All right? You're not passing. You haven't passed this time. You haven't failed an exam. You just simply haven't passed it this time. And you'll get a reset. And you'll come back and you'll hopefully pass it the second time through. If there's any tough questions there, which there will be, it's a process of elimination. If you, for example, if you're looking at a Server 2016 exam or a Windows 10 exam, then they are more than likely going to be testing you on the new features rather than an old feature. If there's answers that simply can't be right, good, wipe them out straight away. You'll find that your first instinct, when you look at a question, read the question, pick out the important part of that question, and try and work out an answer before you look at the answers. And then when you look at the answers, you look through and you go, oh yeah, I think it's B. Look through the rest of them, go back to your first choice. Most of the time, your first instinct's right. If all else fails, guess. They're not going to take points off you simply because you got an answer wrong. And you never know, you might get it right. So if all else fails, just guess it. Be careful that you don't go back and review and you start changing your answers. Don't second guess yourself. Stick with that first question that you put in there. How are you going to do all this? Well, wow, there's lots of different options that you've got that are open to you. The MVA, Microsoft Virtual Academy, that's free. There's 800 plus courses they've got up there, but it's at your own pace in your own seat. A little bit hard. 7 o'clock at night, the kids are screaming, they've got to be put to bed, or there's something else that you need to be doing to try and sit down and concentrate on it. edX.org is another option that you've got. That's a combination of free and cost. And you've also got the ability to go in and do mock or mod, Microsoft Official Curriculum, which is what we teach, or Microsoft Official Curriculum on Demand, which is called mod. Let's go and have a little look at a little bit more detail on those. MBA, self-paced, expert-led courses. I'll get somebody like me to sit down and record a video showing you how to do something or when to do something or why you're doing something, and it will be anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour video with some questions after it that you can actually track your progress through that. It's free, but remember, it's in your own time, and you do not have any feedback with that particular instructor. It's a video that you can watch and watch and watch, but you don't have any feedback. MOOC. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Massively open online courses. So this is where, similar to a university, you can have hundreds of people attending a particular course that's online, and you can fit that into your schedule. It's a virtual classroom. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But again, you don't really have that option to get the feedback straight away that you will get when you come and do instructor-led training. The good thing about instructor-led training, you are getting people that do this for a living. You're getting Microsoft certified trainers. It's being delivered by a Microsoft learning partner. It includes the technical content, it includes the lab exercises, and it includes the interaction. It's you in a classroom with anything up to 15 other students. It's you talking back and forward about what your company does compared to what their company does. It's you asking me questions. It's me explaining how something actually works. And if something goes wrong, me walking down and sitting beside you and showing you how to do something, or taking you deeper into a particular product and giving you references that you can read later on. It'll cost more than the other courses, but it is simply the best way, in my opinion, to learn a particular product and to prepare yourself for your certifications. So where do you go from here? We've got special offers for you. This is the marketing side of things, isn't it? And Manuela's hitting me over the head at the moment. So saving 15% on the recommended retail if you want to purchase any of the following course combos. So cloud platform, SQL, web applications, Windows 10, Windows Server 2016. So for me, the first one and the last two are my favorite ones. So certainly, yeah, Windows 10, last version of Windows that's coming out, it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger. Come along and do that. MCSE on mobility. Sounds like a good one for me. So take advantage of this particular offer. Call your account manager on the 1-800 number there, or email training@ddls.com.au. Questions? Do I hand back over to Manuela now?
Thank you, Wayne. That was fantastic. Yeah, we will now go through the audience questions. So please type your questions into the chat panel and we'll address them accordingly. And I believe we've already received some questions. We have one from Sam. Can we take screenshots for those long questions? I assume it's in regards to the exam questions.
No. If you're in the exam itself, you're actually restricted as what you can do. You've got a single-purpose machine in front of you. You don't have any electronics in there with you or anything else like that. You've got just the screen in front of you. You answer those questions in front of you. There's no screenshots, sorry.
Okay, and then we have a question from Josh. I'm an MCSE in Windows Server 2008. Can I upgrade to MCSE 2016?
Not directly, mate. I'm sorry. That's a little bit too old. If you wanted to, you'd have to upgrade yourself to MCSA 2012, then from MCSA 2012 to MCSA 2016. Anybody that still had a 2008 certification or even 2003 certifications, honestly, it's too old. You really should look at starting from scratch and recertifying. Look, from MCSA Server 2008 to MCSA 2016 is 2 exams anyway. You're better off doing 3 exams from scratch and getting your MCSA 2016.
Okay, perfect. And then we have a question from Ali. You mentioned practice exams. Where can we find the practice exams?
Oh, yeah, good point. There are 2 main providers, Measure Up And Transcender, would you believe, is the other one. You can download and run yourself through the practice exams. They're particularly good. They are actually typically harder than the real exams, but the idea and the good part about the practice exams is that you can actually see the answers and the reasoning behind the answers. So you're actually learning from those practice exams. Just as a personal preference, if you're doing a practice exam, you should really only do it twice, at the most 3 times. Otherwise, you're simply memorizing the questions and the answers the first time. We'll always show you what areas you need to concentrate on. The second time through is to make sure you've picked up those areas and to show any other areas that you may be deficient in. And the third time is just to bring it all together. If you do it more than 3 times, you're remembering the questions, you're remembering the answers, and honestly, it's not going to do you any good in the real exam.
Okay, and we just have a follow-up question from that. With Measure Up, SQL 2016 development is not up. When will that be available? I've only seen the SQL 2014 development in Measure Up.
That's a really good question, and then I know the answer to this because I've got a couple of friends of mine over in the States are actually working on those exam questions right now. One of the things that Microsoft is trying really hard to do is when they release the courses, it's followed pretty quickly by the actual exams and the practice exams. I can't give a date, or I really can't give a date. All I can say is that they are in development and they should be out within, you're going to hold me to this, they should be out within the next couple of months. That's all I can offer, sorry. The other thing is, if there's no practice exams, for those particular exams, say if you want to do the, I know you said SQL 2016, I can't remember exam numbers, sorry. If it's a particular exam, say it's the 443 or a 696 exam, if you type into Bing, exam 70-696 and look for the Microsoft Learning web page, that will have all the objectives for that particular exam. You need to cover off each of those objectives, and down the bottom of the page it'll have a link through to Measure Up, and that'll show whatever exams are appropriate for that particular application or that particular exam.